Hi everyone. Today I've got the absolute pleasure of interviewing Leanne Pilkington. Leanne's the President of the Real Estate Institute of New South Wales. Leanne, we're in a lockdown at the moment. What are the trends that you're seeing right now?
Yeah, certainly people are still transacting in property. It's interesting. If we go back to the first, to sort of March or April of last year, there was massive levels of uncertainty around what the coronavirus actually meant, how long it was going to take for us to get out of it, what was going to go on with vaccines. There was so much uncertainty. We had people predicting that the market was going to drop by, maybe 30%, which was just nuts. That is absolutely, obviously not what happened, because we came out of the lockdown, as you rightfully said, to see the fastest price growth in 17 years. Now, I'm not expecting that we're going to see that massive rate of price growth again. However, what I can tell you is every time that we've come out of a lockdown, whether it be here in Sydney or our friends in Melbourne that have been locked down 5 times, every time we come out and the market just bounces back, because demand for property doesn't just disappear. It's not a demand cancelled, it's a demand delayed, if you like. And so some people are still happy to buy and sell during a pandemic. Other people will think, okay, I'll wait until we're out of lockdown. So what I expect to see at the end of this lockdown is a lot of activity, people buying and selling.
Right.
Yeah.
So you expect to see...
Agents are going to get really busy, Helena.
There you go. And as you were saying, you predict that we'll be resilient again. Yep.
Absolutely. Okay. Yes, absolutely. I don't see any reason why it won't be. We've still got the underlying fundamentals. We've still got the really low interest rates. I mean, obviously, government incentives last time around had a fantastic impact on our first home buyers, which I'm sure you would have seen on the coast. And, our regional locations are still incredibly popular. And this lockdown is going to just increase that popularity, I would have thought. People like me wanting to get out of Sydney. Yes.
Auction clearance rates, what are they doing at the moment? How are things looking in that regard?
Yeah, they're still pretty stable, actually. We certainly got up over 80% for 12 or 13 weeks earlier this year, which is amazing. But the preliminary clearance rates on Saturday, according to CoreLogic, were 74.8%, with 597 auctions.
Right.
The week before, that was a final clearance rate of 76.6% for 769 auctions. So obviously our auction numbers have fallen, as you would expect. But clearance rates are still super strong, because if you consider that anything over 65% thereabouts in a clearance rates is considered to be a rising market. So the market it's still going really well.
Yeah, that's amazing. So anything over, what did you say, 65%? Is considered to be a rising market, and we're seeing auction clearance rates about the 74 to 76%.
Early to mid-70s,
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, no problem. And stock levels, run me down on this.
Not good.
Yeah, one of the questions that a lot of owners have is, should they sell during the lockdown or should they wait?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's a question I've been getting a lot. I'm actually doing a session, I'll send it to you, with CoreLogic next week to talk about that very thing, just so that they can talk about the actual what's going on from a data perspective. But what I'm seeing is stock levels are low, which means that there's not a lot for buyers to choose from right now. Real estate agents can still show property. What I'm sure is going to happen when we come out of this lockdown is stock levels are going to increase. I mean, it's going to be spring by then.
Yes.
Anyway, stock levels always increase in spring. And although it seems logical to put your house on the market when everybody else is, it's actually not, because it gives buyers a lot more choice. So, you're better placed to tell your potential vendors what the market's like on the Central Coast right now. But in general, it makes sense to put your house on the market when there's not a lot of property on that is comparable, that is competing with yours.
Yeah. So what we're seeing is a trend for agents to, we call it banking listings. So the property's listed and they've got all the marketing ready, the photos have been taken, all of the back end things are done, the write up and whatnot, and they're basically waiting for that green light. When restrictions lift, that property will launch to the market.
Yeah.
So in line with what you're thinking, we think there'll be a big surge of properties hitting the market at one time, and we're sort of going the other way, where our owners are choosing to come on the market now during a lockdown without competition from multiple comparable properties. And we're getting great results.
Helena, there's just some real estate agents out there that are so resistant to change,
yes,
and not willing to adapt with changing market conditions, and they're a little bit frightened of doing something different. Whereas, you and I know that there's lots of, as we've already spoken about, there's lots of different ways that you can actually effectively market a property today, using technology. So it makes sense.
Yeah, very good. So we actually had 3 properties exchange last week, and I would definitely say none of those owners sacrificed price by selling in a lockdown. So the prices achieved were still quite good.
Oh, well done you.
Yeah, thank you. So just touching on the Central Coast,
yep.
What we do know is throughout the coronavirus and the pandemic, the regional areas have outperformed capital cities, and
yep.
buyers have placed a lot of importance on the size of the home, and also the block of the land, the size of the block. So, if they have to be in a lockdown, they want to be in a larger space, or have
yep.
an area where, a grassed area where children can play, and those types of things.
Yeah.
How do you think?
Well, they're not as restricted either as they were, right? Because you can see I'm working in the spare bedroom at my house. We don't have to drive into the city every day to go to work. And the beauty of somewhere like the Central Coast is, if somebody does still need to go into the city once or twice a week, or go to the airport, it's actually not that far away. So no. I'm not surprised that the Central Coast has really been one of the big beneficiaries of people getting out of town.
Yeah, most definitely. And I suspect with this lockdown that we're currently in, that will just, increase the demand for the Central Coast from people from Sydney.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, wonderful. So, and last time we spoke, we spoke about the federal budget incentives. So they were announced that night, and then the next morning you came into the office.
I did, that's right.
Yeah. We're starting to see now the first few buyers who are, trying to purchase with the 2% deposit if they're a single parent family, and, really taking advantage of those incentives. What are you sort of seeing out there, and how do you think these incentives will impact the market?
Oh, look, I think it's great that we are giving the opportunity to people to buy and to access these packages that potentially couldn't even dream about buying property. So that's great. Last I checked was a few weeks ago, but certainly there was still more of those packages available. So if people are thinking about it, definitely do your research and see what is available for you right now, because every little bit helps, right?
Yep. Wonderful. And okay. And I really think that did contribute to us coming out of the last lockdown strong.
Sure.
So I'm grateful that we've got all of those incentives for first home buyers and, single parent families.
The first home buyers were the biggest winners of the, excuse my printer going off there. My husband must be printing something from downstairs. I think the first home buyers were definitely really big beneficiaries from the federal government assistance, which is just awesome. How are you finding investors up there? Have you got investors coming back into the market?
Yeah, good question. We've definitely seen an increase in investor activity. Yep. So once a quarter, I ring our landlords and, just check in with them. And the biggest trend I'm noticing with investors is they're either, thinking that we're at the height of the market, let's cash up and sell now. Or on the other hand, they're thinking, I've got lots of equity in my current portfolio, I'm going to build again. But we're definitely seeing increased, I'm going to buy again. So they're building their portfolios that have a lot of equity. Yeah. So we're definitely seeing increased investor activity on the Central Coast.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. So just moving across to rentals, can you briefly explain the moratorium on evictions for me?
Yeah, so basically, oh, look, my husband's going to come and say hello. Sorry about that.
Hi. Oh.
He doesn't look very happy. I'm not sure what's going wrong. Anyway,
That's okay.
we'll just ignore him.
Sure.
So, yeah, the moratorium on evictions, basically, it's sort of a replay of last year. So if a tenant is COVID impacted, and what COVID impacted means is a reduction of 25% of the household income.
Sure.
That means that they are going to struggle to pay the rent. They need to reach out to the landlord, let the landlord know, come to some kind of agreement, and they do need to show evidence of that impact, whether it's a pay slip or a letter from their employer cutting their hours, whatever it is. They do need to show some evidence, but the agents or the landlords are not able to evict them for non-payment of rent during that time. But they do need to be paying, bizarrely, a minimum of 25% rent.
Okay. Sure.
And it's not a matter of deferring. There was a lot more rules around it last time.
Yes.
But it's really just up to the landlords and the tenant or the agents to negotiate. And don't forget, there's a $1,500 package that your landlords, or $1,500 support package that your landlords can also access. And so you, as their agents, can apply for that if the tenant is COVID impacted. The landlord can get that $1,500, or you can get it on behalf of the landlord. And the only proviso is that the landlord must reduce the rent by $1,500, and you need to have an agreement in place to do that. And the REI have got those forms available.
Yeah, and the 25% reduction in income, that's after Centrelink or government benefits.
That's right.
Okay.
Any incentives need to be calculated into
They need to be calculated into it. Okay, no problem. And rental vacancy rates, what's happening with the vacancy?
They're still really low. There's only a few parts of Sydney that that they're still a little bit high, and they're the areas that have got a lot of old apartments, particularly around universities and that kind of thing. But certainly everywhere else, the vacancy rates are tight, and regionally they are crazy. What are they on the coast at the moment?
Oh, look, we're on our rent roll. We're looking at 2% vacancy rate. And those properties have only just come onto the market, so quite low.
It is. It's really, really low.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, so quite competitive out there if you're looking for a rental property.
Yeah, for sure.
What about routine inspections during lockdown?
No, don't do it.
Yeah. Well, our policy, we don't want to put our tenants or our, property managers at risk. We don't want them going in and out of, hundreds of homes.
And you just don't need the aggravation, right? I mean, you don't need to do that to your tenants. You don't, you can certainly use technology to do routine inspections if you feel, particularly if you've got a very big rent roll, and stopping doing any routines for, I guess it's going to be 8 weeks by the time we can get back to it. That can put you way behind on a really big rent roll. So there's no reason why you can't do your routines via technology. Lots of agents have effectively done that. So but don't do that to your poor tenants. Just leave them. Everyone's stressed enough.
Yeah, and also we don't want to put the tenants or the property managers at risk, anyone.
Oh, that's true.
Spreading the virus. Yeah, okay. So what about tenants inspecting vacant properties as a prospective tenant?
Yeah, you're still able to inspect properties. Obviously, if there's a tenancy in there already, it's really up to the tenant whether they're going to let you in or not. But vacant properties, there's no problem with doing inspections vacant properties. But you need to remember that only one person can come with the agent. Okay.
Yes.
So even if a husband and wife have travelled to an inspection together in the same car randomly, you can only have one person at a time. Inspect.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Hey,
was there anything you wanted to add to the?
No, that's all good. I'll look forward to catching up with you again on the other side of the lockdown.
Yeah, it'd be good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure, Helena. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.